Stop. Don't buy that picks package or all access. Wait, what? Yep, don't click add to cart until you check out our new deals page at both WagerTalk and Sports Memo, where you can find all the latest offers, promotions, and coupons available all in one place. These deals are updated daily and can be found by clicking deals in the nav at WagerTalk or Sports Memo, going to wt.buzz/deals, or scanning the QR code on your screen.
Welcome into the Opening Line Report Monday, May 9th. I am Drew Martin, joined by Teddy Covers. NFL Opening Line Report style season wins. We're going over them today. Teddy, welcome in. Happy Monday morning to you.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here to talk some season wins. Obviously, the NFL schedule gets released on Thursday. We've got three more shows before we're going to take a little break over the summer. Today, we're going to talk AFC teams. Next week, we'll talk schedule release and how that changes things. The following week, we'll talk NFC teams. And after that, it'll be Memorial Day. And in June and July, we'll take a little bit of time off for the Opening Line Report and then come back end of July before the start of football season, before the start of preseason, and really get into things. So that's the plan for the next couple of weeks, Drew. AFC today, then the schedule release for next Monday, and how that will change our opinions about some teams. The following week, NFC, and then a little bit of break over the summer. And of course, we have Teddy. USFL as well. We got opening lines in USFL. Drew, you want to talk about the openers or no?
We can. If you want
2 minutes before we went on air, she was like, I don't want to talk USFL. And I just threw him under the bus right here. I feel so bad, but I don't feel that bad. But we have openers. I just want to add, because I haven't spent that much time with USFL. The only thing I'm going to ask you, is anybody any good? All right. That's my only question. The openers right now, we've got Tampa Bay, 2.5 and 34 at home against Michigan. That's Friday night. We have New Jersey, a 3-point home dog to New Orleans, total of 37 on Saturday. On Sunday, Birmingham -6, 36 against Philadelphia. Houston -5.5, 34 against Pittsburgh. Lots of low totals, Drew. These numbers going to move anywhere? Anything stand out to you as something that's going to bounce on a Monday morning?
Sure, and I'll get into it more in depth next week, guys. But USFL, in terms of the totals, Teddy, I went into this new league wanting to bet unders, man. Pretty much just under every game the first 2 weeks, and then since then, kind of sporadically betting the unders. We've seen a shift, though. I mean, they are getting lower. We're seeing 33s, 33 and a halves, and every now and again, some of these USFL teams go up against each other. And, they they go over the total in the first half. And then it's kind of like mud on your face, dang, I just lost that under in the second quarter. I look like a really big idiot. So I've kind of pumped the brakes a little bit. I'm kind of regrouping here. I actually recorded the games from this weekend. And I know we got a lot more people interested in the NFL than the USFL. So I'll hit it next week. Maybe not at the top here. I will say this. I think the New Orleans Breakers are going to win the league. I think that this team's really good. Larry Fedora is just the offensive mind that he had at Southern Miss, and sure enough, it's kind of prevailing here. The USFL, some of these new football leagues, we've really seen kind of offensive-minded head coaches, Steve Spurrier being one, really perform well. I think that's going to be the New Orleans Breakers. Some other teams could give them a push, though. Birmingham has that home field advantage, Teddy. They're the team that gets fans into the stands. All the other games don't really have too much, but those are a couple things. So I would look for the New Orleans team at -2 that you can get out there at the Westgate in Las Vegas. I would probably jump on that. I think that might end up on the other side of 3 in terms of the Breakers being favored by that much. But guys, next week we'll get into it more. Teddy, I know there's a lot of people out there. NFL season wins here. AFC, sure. You just want to go down in ABC order. How do you want to do this?
Yeah, I mean, I've got unfortunately I'm looking at DraftKings number right here, and I don't love their their layout. So the teams are pretty much listed randomly. So sure, we'll start with the AFC East and move on down the line. So however you want to do it, because they're pretty random. So whatever number you give me, I'm going to have to look for.
Oh, I got you. Okay, well, we can go ABC order or AFC East and go down either way, Teddy. I guess
let's do AFC East and go down. Let's go division by division. That works for me.
Sure. And I guess ABC order or division down from the AFC East. It's going to put us on the Buffalo Bills as the first one here. So we got 11.5, Teddy. That's what I'm seeing at a prominent offshore bet online. It's the one I'm going to read off of here. 11.5 minus 130 to the over, plus 100 to the under, Teddy.
Yeah, that's the exact same numbers we're seeing at DK. And right now, there was a lot of variance in the marketplace at the open. At this stage, there's not as much variance in the marketplace. We'll see a little bit more once the markets start to move. This is kind of a, when we're talking about mid-May, the markets aren't going crazy at this time of the year when it comes to NFL. So the variance comes early and then it comes against late. Right now, we'll see comparable numbers. And look, Buffalo is the highest win total in the NFL. Okay, they're lined as being the team to beat. And some of that has to do with the division. It's not like the markets are in love with the AFC East by any stretch of the imagination. But the Bills at 11.5 wins are expected to be contenders. The markets are looking at them as contenders. I'm not expecting any under money for Buffalo in the immediate future. If you want to bet the Bills over the total, I do that sooner rather than later.
Next team up here, finishing second in the AFC East, the New England Patriots, 10-7 last season. They were only 4-5 at home, 6-2 on the road. Teddy, BOL is showing the New England Patriots 8.5, another minus 130 to the over, plus 100 on the under.
Yeah, just to make sure that we don't mess with any YouTube regulations. Let's just say the offshore world has them instead of listing any books at this stage of the game, just to be safe. At DraftKings, it's over 8.5 with the over minus 120. There's not a lot of excitement about New England in the betting markets right now. There really isn't. You go around town, the buzz in Vegas is meh. Patriots were not a playoff team last year. There are still questions about what the quarterback position is going to look like. Nobody liked their draft. On paper, this is being priced as a 500 team, and New England's not a squad where there's urgency to bet over. If you like the Patriots, this number's not going anywhere. If anything, it might tick, but 8.5 is likely to hang. And again, we're not seeing heavy juice on that over either.
We got the Miami Dolphins up next, 9-8 last season, 6-3 at home, 3-5 on the road, an under trender as well. We got 8.5, minus 130 to the over, plus 100 again on the under, Teddy.
Yeah, and again, you got to give me a minute to these are not listed in any order whatsoever that I can figure out. I'm seeing 9 under minus 120 for the Dolphins at DK. You said 8.5 is what you found in faraway places, and I would expect this. I personally, there's a lot that I like about the Dolphins. All right, if I'm playing the Dolphins, I'm playing them over. And if you guys pay attention, by the way, to my comments over the next couple of weeks, you'll get my season win short list one at a time. But if you're paying attention, you'll get, and the Dolphins over is absolutely on my season win short list. I like this team. I like the makeup of this team. I have my concerns about Miami in the trenches. I want to see what their schedule looks like when it actually comes out. But I think the Dolphins are pretty good. And again, Brian, I'm not a conspiracy guy. All right. But it makes the league look a whole lot better if the Dolphins are good this year than if they stink. Either given the Flores lawsuit, I wouldn't be surprised Miami gets some breaks. And I think they're pretty good to begin with. I like the Dolphins over the total. But from a market standpoint, again, 8.5, 9. 8.5 is a lot better than 9. Shop around for this one.
Yeah, it was interesting with the conspiracy theory, Teddy. I didn't even think of that. But hey, anything to get a little edge on the betting markets. We got the New York Jets up next, guys. Of course, finishing in the cellar of the AFC East last season, 4-13, 3-6 at home, 1-7 on the road. Also a very ugly 6-11 against the spread, Teddy. I am seeing the New York Jets at a global book priced at 6 wins, minus 120 to the over, minus 110 on the under.
I love the Jets last year, man. That team made me a lot of money going against them. So I didn't mind the Jets struggling ATS. There were good reasons to bet against the New York Jets last year. There may well be again this year. And again, the Jets had a hot draft. All right. Teams that have a hot draft, bunch of first rounders, bunch of impact players in theory in the first round. Sometimes you get a little bit of hype on those squads. In a division like this, where the markets aren't hot on New England necessarily, they're not particularly hot on Miami. All of a sudden, a last place team like the Jets can attract some betting attention. At DK right now, it's over 5.5, minus 145 to the over. It looks like certainly we've seen plenty of over money for the Jets already. You talked about 6 in faraway places, 5.5 with juice here. I would not be surprised at all if the Jets continue to take some over money. They're a hype team coming into the new season, even for a last place squad. I can say this, not likely to be my money, Drew.
I got you guys. It pays to listen. Yeah, for sure. Teddy covers with the short list for the NFL season win totals. By the way, guys, one of the best in the business, probably the best in terms of long-term record NFL season win total. Check him out. His page, Teddy covers, WagerTalk.com. That report, Teddy, will be coming out in 2 parts, right? One part coming up, not actually too long, right?
Yeah. Part 1 of the season win reports, and I meant to do that before today's show to put a date on it, and I just didn't have a chance. Yeah, it was freaking Mother's Day yesterday. I got caught around in mom stuff. What are you going to do? Exactly. But we'll have the date by next Monday's show. We'll have the date of the season win report, the first release, and in recent years, I've also been doing a second release kind of at the end of the preseason to take advantage of some of the overreactions. Mm-hmm. But the majority of the report comes out early. Usually I have 1 or 2 add-ons late. But this is a report, by the way, when it comes out, you want to get it as it comes out. I move the lines, which is nice. It's a nice little thing to do in a global market. But the line, especially on the big ticket, the big ticket sometimes moves 20, 30 cents off because the big tickets have been so good for so long in the NFL season wins. A ridiculous record with the strongest plays over the long term. So that's a report that you want to have the minute it comes out. But we'll give you plenty of details on that before next week's show and next week's show.
Yeah. And guys, I second that. I've been riding for a couple years now, more than a couple years, and it's definitely made some money. So I'll be tailing Teddy as well. And I guess you can get it with his full season NFL package as well will be included. So and also, guys, note that it's not only the pick. Yes, that's nice. I've been tailing that, but it's also the analysis. You get a kind of a beat here going into the season. It kind of points you in the right direction. At least that's how I read it, guys. Let's go to the AFC North up next, Teddy. Of course, finishing at the top of the division. Heck of a season for Joey Burrow and company. We got 10-7 for the Cincinnati Bengals last season. They were 5-4 at home, 5-3 on the road, 10-7 against the spread, and a surprisingly small trender towards the under. Speaking of the Bengals here, we're seeing them 9.5 in the global book. We got -140 on that over as well, Teddy. So 9.5 -140 to the over, +110 I'm seeing on the under.
Now, again, this is a really important formula to be aware of when we're talking season wins. In the middle of the pack, teams lined, let's say, between 7 and 10 wins. All right, 8.5 being the a team finishes as the average. The teams are going to go 8 and 9, 9 and 8. So in the middle of the pack, between 7 and 10 wins, each half a win is worth approximately 50 cents worth of juice. So 9.5 over -50 is the moral equivalent of 10 over even money. In general, I prefer to lay a little bit more juice to get the 9.5 in those spots, because when you have a season-long bets, the team wins 10 games, you want to catch those by the hook and not push. So I'm willing to lay a little bit of juice, a little bit of extra juice a lot of times. But the standard formula is 50 cents equals a half win. Now, when you get to the margins, when you get to the teams lined at 5.5 or 11.5, each half win is worth more than 50 cents. I heard people say it's worth close to $1. Sharp people say that it's worth more. So it's definitely something to be aware of. In the middle of the pack, those half wins worth a little bit less than they are on the margins, simply because fewer teams win 12 games or lose 12 games in any given season than finish in the middle of the road. So you talked to this whole thing is about Cincinnati. You talked about a line at 9.5 with the over -140. DK at DraftKings, I'm seeing the under 10 lined at -130. That's 70 cents worth of juice. So in theory, there's a little bit of value there on one side or the other, being that it's only supposed to be a 50-cent difference. The markets are not going to be white hot on Cincinnati this year. Cincinnati, not to call them flash in the pan, they have the quarterback. So people believe in the Bengals to the level they have the quarterback. But this is a team that came out of nowhere, went to the Super Bowl, and markets are expecting at least some regression. Obviously, they won 10 games last year and then got hot in the postseason. Markets are saying that's about the limit for Cincinnati this year. And obviously now they're the hunted, not the hunters. So I'm not surprised that we're not seeing significant enthusiasm for Cincy in the markets. Again, at this stage of the campaign, it's all sharp money. Okay, there's no public money in any of these numbers. And the sharps are looking at Cincy as, they're not going to be a whole lot better than they were last year. And some of the teams in that division might be a whole lot better than they were last year. So there's not that much enthusiasm for the Bengals in early betting.
I like it. Good breakdown, Teddy. We got next team up, of course, the Pittsburgh Steelers making the playoffs last season at 9-7-1. They did have that tie. They were 8-9 against the spread, talking about the Steelers, and then 6-11, huge under trenders last season. Teddy, of course, needs to be brought up. They did take a first round quarterback in Kenny Pickett. I'm pretty sure just from doing this show with you that is a market mover in terms of NFL season win totals. If you could speak on that, that'd probably be good. 7.5 is what I'm seeing them here. Over -$1.25, under +100. So 7.5 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Steady.
And now note, he's over $1.25 and the under is +100. Here's another book, -120 and +100. So one book's got a 20-cent spread, one book's got a 25-cent spread. These little differences add up. When we say shop around, if you have 2 accounts, open 3. You have 3 accounts, open 4. I'm not saying it for my health. I'm saying because it makes a difference. Do you want to lay 120 or -125 for a season-long bet? Usually when you're making these season-long bets, they tend to be bigger bets. Your choice. Obviously you want to lay 120, which it is at DK with the 20-cent spreads. And 7.5, Pittsburgh is being viewed as a last-place team in this division. Obviously, whether it's Trubisky, whether it's Mason Rudolph, or whether it's Kenny Pickett as the QB, they're a team without a proven quarterback in a division with a bunch of proven quarterbacks in the markets. Looking at Pittsburgh, not necessarily in rebuilding mode, but not necessarily as a playoff contender this year either.
And Teddy, I do want to say, okay. Teddy, I want to say something about because like pointing towards DraftKings, that's kind of a unique thing because DraftKings is actually in the opposite end of that on a lot of sports in terms of charging more. So don't just take that as guys like advertisement. We're saying DraftKings because it's actually opposite of a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah. The concept is, he's got a book there. I've got a book there. We could have 15 different books open. Okay. Each book's going to have a different number. The more accounts that you have, the more likely you're going to find a nickel less juice here and a nickel better. Oh my God, I found a half win better over here. And it's only 30 cents worth of juice to get that half win. This isn't an advertisement for any book. I could care less which book you like and which book you don't. It doesn't matter. It's not about that. It's about line variance and finding that extra nickel, finding that extra, it's line -4. Oh, look, there's the one -4.5. I could take +4.5 here. That's the little edges that over time make the difference between breaking even or losing a little bit of money to making money. Little edges over time. That's what we do.
Well said, Teddy. Next team up, Cleveland Browns. Teddy, I'm not seeing a line here. They are off the board in the global book. 8-9 last season, 7-10 against the spread, 7-10 under trenders as well. I don't know if you have a line on the Browns, but they're off the board.
No. Yeah, there are no lines on the Browns right now because we don't know what the Deshaun Watson suspension is going to look like. And books are waiting until that suspension gets announced before they post a line on Cleveland. So there are 31 teams that are lined right now. And then there's the Cleveland Browns. They're always the exception to every rule. And we'll have to see. I mean, I really, in terms of what it's going to look like, it's hard for me to even make a number in my head without knowing what Watson's suspension is going to look like. Because if he's missing half the season, if he's missing the whole season, if he's missing 6 weeks, if he's missing 2 weeks, I don't know. Let's find out before we start trying to break down the Cleveland Browns. In general, this team might be underrated, but they underachieved last year to the talent on hand. There's hope for Cleveland, but let's see how it plays out.
And Teddy, what if they just sit on it like they kind of did last year or 2 years, whenever this happened, in terms of what if we don't get information out there? How long will the sports books kind of hold off on putting out a line? Would they go all the way to kickoff?
We'll have info on Watson, whether he's going to be suspended for the kickoff for opening day by opening day. We'll have an idea of what his suspension is going to look like. I would think, they're not going to announce the night before the game. Oh, by the way, we just suspended Deshaun Watson for 8 games. We'll hear that early enough. There'll be a line posted in ample When you ask me the next team, I'll see what they want. Let me just look quick and see when Deshaun Watson.
It just seemed like the
Mention
NFL was
news.
kind of sitting on that, when it first came out, in terms of not wanting to say too much, say the wrong thing. And I'm just thinking, what if they keep going down that path and we don't actually get a lot of information until very close to kickoff? I wonder if a sports book would kind of take a stand and kind of, roll the dice, if you will, to get some more action, even though they might be wrong, Teddy.
That's a risky maneuver. And it could happen. I wouldn't expect the books to hang a number on Cleveland until we have more info on what Watson's
Okay.
look. And I just did a quick Google search, and there's nothing. There's nothing to say. Oh, the NFL's date is coming here. We don't know yet. Still early. The season's still 3 months away.
Yeah, we got some time. We got the bottom of the division here in the Baltimore Ravens, just at 8-9, guys. Kind of surprised, actually, just looking at the standings from last year. 8-9 against the spread and 8-9 over slight under trenders. I'm seeing the Baltimore Ravens lined 9.5, Teddy. Another -140 to the over and +110 to the under. So plus money on this under of 9.5, Teddy.
Yeah, and just a note that I said the season starts in 3 months, not in 4 months. In my world, the season starts at the beginning of preseason. NFL Hall of Fame game is when the football season starts. You guys can wait till Labor Day. I want to be ready for preseason. Preseason can be a real nice moneymaker when you have one of those years where the coaches actually do what they say they're going to do. I'm seeing Baltimore over 9.5, -130. You're seeing Baltimore over 9.5 with even a little bit more juice. The Ravens are certainly at least a modestly hot team in the markets, because people like their offseason a lot. They like the free agent moves they made. They like the draft they made. There's still questions about Lamar Jackson and A, how good he is. B, are they going to sign him to extension? There are concerns at the QB position for Baltimore, but the Ravens being lined maybe not quite as high as Cincinnati, but right there with Cincinnati as a team that's likely to be competing for a division title. Baltimore, again, a fairly hot team in the markets. They're not sleeping on the Ravens.
Guys, heading to the AFC South up next. Tennessee Titans, winners of the division, the only playoff team from the South. 12-5 last season, 7-2 at home, 5-3 on the road, 10-7 moneymakers against the spread, and 8-9 slight under trenders. Talking about the Titans here, AFC South champions last season, 9.5 at the global book, -125 on that over, -105 to the under of 9.5, Teddy.
Yeah, and here's 9.5 under -135, over a +115 at DK. So again, a little bit of variance on the juice, and that adds up. I really have mixed feelings about Tennessee. Part of me thinks that this team is, they're ready to compete for a Super Bowl, and part of me thinks that Tannehill, you just can't trust him, and that they still have. They're obviously up against the cap. That's why they traded AJ Brown, although they replaced him pretty well, potentially. The markets, again, they're not super bullish on Tennessee. We're not seeing anti-Tennessee money. This line's sitting at 9.5. And if you notice, again, there's variance from one book to the next that tells us that the markets aren't crazy one way or the other on this team. I think Tennessee's a two-way action team. I'm not anticipating the Titans being a wise guy special or a public special. They're going to hang in this range all summer long.
Teddy, next team up, very interesting handicap this season. The Indianapolis Colts, guys, 9-8 last season, 10-7 against the spread. Again, another slight under trender at 8-9, 9 unders, 8 overs. But the Colts 9-8 last season, and we're seeing them 9.5 season wins, -135 to the over, Teddy, +105 on the under. So Colts 9.5.
Yeah, there was a fair bit of love for Indy last year in the markets, both coming into the season and throughout the course of the season. They had some nice advanced metrics. I'm seeing 9.5 to the over, -130 at DK, under 9.5, +110. Obviously making the move to bring in Matt Ryan at the QB position. In theory, now it's 3 different years with 3 different aging QBs for Indy. They're hoping this will be the right one. And Ryan, at times last year, he showed signs, and at times last year, he looked like a quarterback that was collecting a paycheck and didn't care all that much. I wasn't thrilled with Matt Ryan's 2021 season from a leadership standpoint or from an effort standpoint. We'll see if that improves in a better situation. The markets certainly like Indy when it comes to their defense. They like Indy when in the trenches. And again, a team that put together a really good statistical profile last year. I think there'll be more wise guy support for the Colts than public support in this marketplace. That makes a difference, but it's not like Indy is a particularly hot team in the markets right now. They're not. They're expected to be good, not great, which is right where they're lying.
Teddy, we got next team up, Houston Texans, 4-13 last season. 2-7 at home, 2-6 on the road, 8-9 against the spread, and 8-9 slight under trenders as well. Seeing the Houston Texans lined at 4, Teddy. 4 season wins here. -130 on the over, +100 on the under of 4 wins for the Texans.
Yeah, I mean it's complete rebuild mode for Houston. They don't. I'm not looking at if I'm ranking the NFL quarterbacks 1 to 32. Davis Mills is probably, if he's not 32, he might be 31.
He's 32.
It's a complete rebuild. And DK, it's under 4.5, -150 to the under, the over 4.5 plus plus 125. So they're betting the crap out of under 4.5. That tells us where the markets think Houston's going to be. And when you talk about the worst team or one of the worst teams in the NFL, again, the Jags are supposed to be a little bit better this year. Houston, not so much. There's going to be 2 or 3 teams that finish with 4 wins or less. Markets are saying the Texans likely to be one of them. I don't necessarily disagree with that. That's a team with holes everywhere. But it's a weak division. And they can steal. Again, when you're betting a team under 4 wins, there's a wiggle room. That's why it's worth more than 50 cents for a half win at this stage of the betting markets. When you talk about a team at 4.5 versus 4 wins, 4-win team, there's no wiggle room there. You get the 4, you push. They get the 5, you lose. So it is worth more than the standard 50 cents at that edge of the spectrum.
Teddy, 4 season win total. You're right. Like you kind of were alluding to it in terms of just sweating that out all year long, like for all 17 weeks, like, oh, they can't win. Oh, if they do get a win, man, that hurts bad. If you're sweating out the under, you know what I mean?
Oh, and it's a 17-week season now too. I could tell you, I don't think I've ever bet an under 4 or 4.5 in the NFL, especially in a 17-game season. I bet under 5.5s. I know that under 5s. Once you start getting to the 4.5s, 4. I mean, everyone knows the team's going to stink, and teams that stink steal games. That's the way the NFL is. I won't be playing this on. Too low.
Teddy, next team up, bottom of the division in the AFC South, just 1 game behind Houston, 3-14 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, different head coach, at least for the start of the season here. We got 0-8 on the road, 3-6 at home. Against the spread, 5-12, very ugly 5-12 there, and 5-12 over under as well. So huge under trenders, huge money losers overall, 3-14. But Teddy, sophomore season, we've talked about it before. Trevor Lawrence, another top draft picks again. We got lined at 6, -115 is what I'm reading on both sides. So it's a 30-cent line here, guys. Global book seeing a season win total of 6, Teddy, for the Jags.
Yeah, I'm seeing 6 over -120 at DraftKings, under at +100. So, I mean, last year was a train wreck for Jacksonville. It was a train wreck from the start of training. It was a train wreck from the start of minicamp. All right, all the crap on Urban Meyer. In minicamp, they were talking about how bad he was. And the team never bought in, and the whole season was a lost season. And Trevor Lawrence took about 1,000 hits, and he probably got worse. I worry about the QBs that come in and take an absolute beating. And, I mean, you watch Trevor Lawrence at college. I watched Trevor Lawrence at college. He was a can't-miss prospect. He was the best college quarterback for years. And he went to the NFL last year, and you're like, this guy? Is that guy? What the heck? So obviously it's a complete reset for Jacksonville. Certainly from a talent standpoint, they got better. All the draft choices, all the free agent money they had to spend. There are things to like about the Jaguars. We're looking for a sleeper team that, an odds to make the playoffs type of team. There's dumber bets than Jacksonville, especially in a weak division like this one. That said, Trevor Lawrence stunk last year. If I'm going to play the Jags over, which I might, but if I'm going to play them over, this is a team you watch like a hawk in the preseason and see if Trevor Lawrence can actually play at the NFL level, because last year he could. But Jacksonville to me is a pay attention in August type of team. The Jags over won't be on that first report, but it might be on the second one. There's hope in Jacksonville, but at the same time, it is a franchise. When we talk about holes, there's still holes everywhere, on that roster. It could well be a 2, 3, 4 year rebuild job for the Jags, much like we're seeing in Detroit.
Teddy, what's your experience with quarterbacks in their second year in the NFL? It's kind of a I don't want to, quote unquote, sharp mindset to see a step forward in that first year after being the starter, because you get that first off season after being the starter. You would think, at least in college, that's how I handicap it. Guys usually take a step forward. Do you see that in the NFL as much?
Joe Burrow, did he do that?
Well, I guess
second year or third
hit
year?
An injury, but yeah.
So
Okay.
could Trevor Lawrence? Absolutely. So the answer is it depends. There's no formula. There's still your Rick Meyers of the world, who wins the Rookie of the Year and then gets proceedingly worse every season until he's out of the league. To bring up a name from way back in the day. I don't know why I brought him up, but to me, he's always like, he won Rookie of the Year, and then all he did was get worse every year after. So you do see quarterbacks go the wrong direction. And then you often see quarterbacks make a big leap. I like QBs in the same offense the second year. That's not the case for Trevor Lawrence. It's another new offense.
Good point. Yeah, big difference, guys. As we got last division here, we're going to hit the AFC West. We got NFC next week. Teddy covers Drew Martin, NFL opening line report, 10 a.m. Pacific time right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Feel free to reply below. Any questions, we'll answer them on the show next week, and let us know what you're looking to bet. Season win totals, all is welcome. Reply section, guys, below on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. We got Kansas City Chiefs, Teddy, winning the division last season, 12-5. They were 8-9 against the spread, so money loser, even though sitting at 12-5 and 10-7 over trenders. We got season win total. I'm seeing them 10.5, Teddy, -115 on both sides. So 10.5 season win total for the Chiefs.
Yeah, and just to be really clear, guys, for next week's show, we're not doing NFC. Next week's show, we're going to do the schedule release and how that's going to change our opinion. And the following week, we'll do NFC, and then we'll take a break for the summer month from Memorial Day, and then we'll be back again late July. Kansas City is not lined as the highest total win team in the league this year, which has been the case the last couple of years. 10.5. I'm seeing over -115. How much does Tyreek Hill matter? How much does KC, having been at the top now for 3 or 4 years, and the attrition and the salary cap, how much does that start to matter for the Chiefs? Certainly a tough division. We're not seeing the type of support in the betting markets for Kansas City right now that we have in each of the last 2 or 3 summers. I'll just leave it at that. It's not like there's money coming in on the under for KC. But KC was a hot team in the markets last year. They were a hot team in the markets the year before. They're not a hot team right now. And the number's sitting there at 10.5.
Teddy, next team up, we got Las Vegas Raiders. 10-7 last season, 8-9 against the spread, 8-9 under trenders. They were 5-4 at home, 5-3 on the road. Of course, made the playoffs there. But your Las Vegas Raiders, 10-7 last season, and 8.5 is what we're seeing their season win total. I'm seeing it -135 on the over, +105 on the under. So Raiders at 8.5, Teddy.
Yeah, and the Raiders are a hard team to get really excited about, and they're a hard team they're a 500 team. Aligned 8.5 -110 both ways. 8.5 to the -110 to the over, and -1.5 110 to the under at DK. And that, in my mind, that's what they are. They're mediocrity defined. Their quarterback, good, never going to be great. And it's certainly a roster with a fair bit of holes. You can make an argument this is ambitious for the Raiders. 8.5 wins, 9 wins. I don't know that Vegas is that good. They're a very mediocre team in a very tough division in which at least 2 teams did get better this past offseason. I'm not convinced the Raiders are one of them.
LA Chargers next team up. LA still doesn't come off the tongue right to me, Teddy. San Diego's still stuck in my head, but either way, Los Angeles Chargers, 9-8 last season, 8-9 against the spread, 10-7 over trenders here. Of course, good quarterback play, and we're seeing them 10 wins, Teddy. So lined is double digits here for the Chargers, -120 on that over, +100 on the under. So 10 season wins for the Chargers.
They're loaded. The Chargers are absolutely loaded. I mean, if it was a different franchise, there'd be more hype, maybe. But the teams like the Chargers that have been perennial losers, like the Bills, who've been perennial losers, it takes a couple years for the markets get legitimately excited about them. I'm seeing again over what. I don't want to make a bet. Sorry, I just almost made a bet. That's the beauty. Okay, Chargers over 10 minus 115, under 10 minus 105 at DK. I think the Chargers are real good. No, I didn't. I didn't. I just got the bet slip going. I didn't actually make it, but I look at the Chargers as a team that where's the weakness? Defense is loaded.
Home field advantage.
Secondary is there. They've got skill position talent. They've got a quarterback. The offensive line holds up. This team can win the division. They're really good. I like the Chargers. I'm bullish on the Chargers. 10 wins to me is, and again, the markets are too. It's not like you're getting a real cheap price for the Chargers, but they're a good team. They could, you're looking for futures. Chargers, I wouldn't argue with any Charger future that you want to bet to win the division, to win the conference. I think they're a value team right now.
All right, guys, one team left. Again, a reminder, feel free to reply below. Follow us on Twitter at DrewMartinBets, at Teddy_covers. Check us out, WagerTalk.com. $9 Monday. Plays up and available. Discounted to just $9. Guys, last team here before we finish it up. Denver Broncos, 7-10 last season, Teddy. 8-9 against the spread. 5-12, huge under trenders last season. Speaking about the Broncos, we're getting them season win total of 10. Of course, big changes in the offseason. Minus 130 on the over, plus 100 on the under is what I'm seeing here, Teddy. So a little juice on the over, season win total of 10 for the Broncos.
Yeah, I'm seeing minus 110 both ways, over or under at DK. So Denver for me, I'm not going to be playing the Broncos season win total. I'll tell you that right now. I had the Broncos over last year. They got off to that 3-0 start. I felt real good about their season, and everything fell apart. I had them over the year before as well. And again, that year was injuries, where the injuries just the day I put out the win report at noon, and I think that was the day that Von Miller got hurt in camp at like 2:00. And it was just one injury after the next. It was literally that day. That team was injury. So the bottom line is I'm really good at season wins, and I've lost back-to-back years betting the Broncos over. I'm not going to do that this year, even though I know it's a new year and you're not supposed to do that. It's just I've been frustrated enough with that team. And, of course, they're being lined at what? They got to win 4 more games than they did last year to cash your ticket.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson makes them better. And Russell Wilson's used to playing on teams without an offensive line. But Denver doesn't have a 10-win offensive line. I'll just put it that way. I don't know. They have 10 positions. Again, you got to win 11 games to cash this ticket. They don't have an 11-win offensive line. They don't have an 11-win receiving core. They don't necessarily have an 11-win defensive line. Yeah, I don't know if and I'm probably not going to bet them under either. It couldn't be more frustrating. Bet them over, and they're bad, and then bet them under the third year, and they do good. So Denver's not a team that I have the right mindset on. So I probably won't get involved with the Broncos. Certainly not in the first report. But 10's ambitious for Denver. For as much as I like that team the last 2 years, the flaws have been pointed out very clearly for the Broncos over the last few years. I'm not convinced all those flaws are fixed just because they got Russell Wilson.
Teddy, you know what I see when I see the Denver Broncos and their season win total? I see volatility. Like in stock market trading, it's like I think it's called like a butterfly trade. Do you ever see that in the marketplace where like, hey, instead of betting 10 wins, maybe look towards the under of like 6.5 and the over of like 13.5? Because I think they're going to go one of two ways. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they're going to be just slightly over 500. I don't know. Do you ever see that in the marketplace where you can get like adjusted season win totals?
I mean, there were books that were posting them last year after every game the first couple of weeks. And then when the Broncos got off that 3-0 start, I think they were lined at 10 wins a year ago, and then proceeded to win 4 games the rest of the way. And just excruciating loss after excruciating loss for Denver. But the win total marketplace is not something where you're going to see like in like a run line, you can lay minus 1.5. Hey, can I lay minus 2.5? I don't see that in the win marketplace. I haven't seen the alternate totals. Although if you have a good relationship with the book, you ask them to post one for you, see what they'll do.
Really, just walk up there and be like, "Hey, I'll make at least $1,000 bet, and we'll make a line for you." That happens.
So again, this is an advantage I have of living in Vegas, is that you get to know the sports books and you get to know the guys in the sports books. And if there's something like this that I really wanted to bet, I would go in and I would talk to Art to see, hey Art, can you guys put an alternate total on some of these, or and just see what the answer. And the answer might be no, we can't do that. And the answer might be sure, we'll put something up for you. Come back in 2 days. And if you promise the book a bet on their numbers, oftentimes they'll put the work in for you.
Interesting.
You got to bet real money, but it's doable. And again, I'm not saying this book is every book's not going to work that way. All right, there's a handful of books in Vegas that I have relationships with they're guys I know, and they want more action. They want more handle. They don't mind these type of questions. So it's not something that maybe a casual bettor can do. But if you have a relationship with any book, sometimes if you ask them to post a number for you, they'll do it.
Guys, it's the NFL opening line report. Teddy covers Drew Martin here, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Next week, we are doing the schedule release, and then the following week, doing the NFC. So get the other teams in the NFL. Teddy, any closing words here before we shut this down?
No. So last thing is the schedule release to me is huge. All right. It's not just who plays who. It's who plays who when. Big difference when a team's looking at a hot start versus a team's looking at, oh, my God, they're going to go 0-6 out of the gate. So we're going to pay a lot of attention to how the schedule lays out, and we'll break it down as best we can next week on the show. Talk about whose schedule came out actually affects my opinion about that team and why it affects my opinion about that team. Should be a good show. So check us out next Monday, same time, same channel, right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel.
Smash that like button, guys. Feel free to comment below. We'll talk next week. Best of luck with your bets until then. Thanks for tuning in.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for Overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.